The heart-wrenching story of a family torn apart by forced repatriation highlights the devastating consequences of ignoring human rights pleas. Amidst a wave of condemnation from international bodies, including the UN, EU, and US, Thailand forcibly deported dozens of Uyghurs back to China, a nation accused of widespread human rights abuses against its Uyghur population. This act of defiance, cloaked in the false narrative of voluntary repatriation, has left families shattered and communities reeling. The story of one family encapsulates the sheer brutality of this situation. Their nightmare began a decade ago, with the exodus from China's Xinjiang region, a region now infamous for its systematic persecution of Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities. The Chinese government's denial of these atrocities rings hollow against the mounting evidence of torture, mass incarceration in concentration camps, and the complete erosion of fundamental human rights. An estimated 1 million Uyghurs and other Muslim minorities are believed to be held captive in this brutal regime. Muhammad, a courageous mother, recounts the events that led to her family's desperate flight. The oppressive atmosphere in Korla, Xinjiang's second-largest city, forced her and her then-husband, Paulette, to flee. The catalyst: the blatant disregard for religious freedom. Muhammad was arrested and forced to remove her hijab, a profound violation of her religious identity. Paulette, meanwhile, faced the chilling restriction of being banned from attending mosque prayers, a fundamental aspect of his faith and community. While Muhammad, pregnant with their second child, and their son managed to reach Turkey, seeking refuge from the encroaching darkness, Paulette's fate took a cruel turn. He was arrested and detained in Thailand for 10 long years, living under the constant threat of deportation. The weight of his absence has cast a long shadow over his family, leaving them clinging to hope against the stark reality of his situation. The Thai government, despite pleas from international organizations and warnings of the real risk of torture upon return, chose to ignore the mounting evidence and the pleas of these vulnerable individuals. They claimed the deportations were voluntary, a convenient justification for a callous act. However, Muhammad vehemently refutes this, stating that it is impossible for Paulette or any of the other Uyghurs to willingly return to face the horrors awaiting them in China. The family's anguish is palpable. The prospect of never seeing Paulette again, knowing he will likely face unimaginable suffering, is a sentence worse than death. Muhammad's voice trembles with a mix of grief, anger, and the profound sense of betrayal. It's shameful for Thailand to send these people to China, even though the family and the whole world knows it is an unsafe place for Uyghurs, she laments. Her words echo the sentiments of countless families separated by this inhumane act. The forced repatriation is not merely a violation of international law. It's a blatant disregard for human dignity and a catastrophic blow to the hope of countless Uyghurs seeking refuge from persecution. The silence of the international community cannot continue. The world must demand accountability for this egregious violation of human rights and work tirelessly to ensure the safety and well-being of the Uyghur people. The international community's response has been fragmented and insufficient. While statements of condemnation have been issued by various organizations, the lack of concrete action speaks volumes. This passivity allows China to continue its campaign of repression, emboldened by the knowledge that it can act with impunity. The deportation of these Uyghurs serves as a chilling reminder of the vulnerability of refugees and the urgent need for stronger international mechanisms to protect them from forced repatriation to countries where they face persecution, torture, and even death. The silence is deafening. The consequences are devastating. The world must act decisively to prevent such atrocities from occurring again and to hold those responsible accountable for their crimes against humanity. The fight for justice for the Uyghur people, and for the countless others facing similar fates, must continue until their fundamental human rights are universally respected and protected. The story of Muhammad and her family serves as a stark warning. Indifference to human suffering is complicity in its perpetuation. We cannot afford to remain silent. The plight of the Uyghurs demands our immediate attention, action, and unwavering commitment to justice. The fight for their freedom and the preservation of their human rights is a fight for the conscience of humanity.